You may know Fresh Patch from Shark Tank, Oprah, or The Today Show. This is the Fresh Patch Podcast, where good pets get it. Sit back, put your paws up, and enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody, to the Fresh Patch Podcast. I'm your host, Drew, with my awesome co-host, Mr. Gabe, over here to my right for all the viewers. And we have an amazing, awesome guest on the pod today, Dr. Kevin McKevley from Paws in Santa Monica. Thanks for joining, Dr. Kevin. We're really thrilled to get you on the pod.
Happy to be here. What's up, you guys? How we doing?
Doing great, not bad for a Wednesday, just getting through the week still, but I know you're a busy man yourself, so how are you doing? You doing good today?
Amazing. Stoked to be here with you guys. Wish I was there in person. That couch looks super comfy. And my background is not as interesting. You guys are crushing it with the podcast studio.
Yeah.
Well, this couch is open for you whenever you can make it up here. We'll keep it nice and warm.
Yeah, and maybe it'll just be a second podcast. We just go round two.
Let's do it.
Awesome. So, yeah, before we really get started, just want to let all the viewers and listeners know, hit that subscribe button if you are watching on YouTube, whatever podcast you listen to, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Make sure to drop a like, comment, follow at Fresh Patch on all social media. Check out freshpatch.com for all your real grass potty needs. And Dr. Kevin, if you don't mind shouting out Palms and Paws for yourself, and we'll have that in the description for the viewers.
Yeah, check us out, Palms Paws Official. We're doing some pretty exciting things right now. We are creating a community where people and pets flourish. We've got veterinary approved tips. We've got recommendations, including incredible collaborations with companies as amazing as Fresh Patch. And so at Palms Paws Official on Instagram, that's where they'll find me and the rest of the fam.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. So everyone listening, check it out. They are amazing, and I can't wait to see what's coming after this pod too. We have a lot of plans with this partnership, but let's dive into these questions, get to know you, Dr. Kevin, and go from there. So Gabe, you want to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. So you started your career studying veterinary science at Cal Poly SLO. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you kind of like initially dove into that field.
Listen, I'll tell you this, the vet life chose me at an early age. I was 7 years old when I decided I wanted to be a vet.
Wow.
I loved animals. I loved helping animals. I loved helping people. And my dad's a dentist. I knew I didn't want to do that. My journey to Cal Poly SLO was pretty intentional. Because when I got to high school, I realized that if I wanted to make this dream a reality, I really needed to pick a school that was going to be setting me up for success. At the time, UC Davis and Cal Poly SLO were my top choices. And Cal Poly SLO was my number one choice, if I'm being honest.
Nice.
And to go there was a dream. I stayed there 5 years. I double majored, and I did animal science as my pre-veterinary concentration, and then I did dairy science, which is all cows. And my interest there was in genetics and genomics. And Cal Poly is unique because they give opportunities for students to do what are called enterprise projects. So starting out even as a freshman, you can do these enterprise projects that get you incredible hands-on experience with small animals, horses, cows. They've got chickens. They've got all of the agricultural resources that you'd want as someone who's interested in becoming a veterinarian. So huge shout out to all the Mustangs out there. I love Cal Poly. And when we have children someday, my wife and I, it's mandatory. They got to go to Cal Poly SLO.
Shipping them up north. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah,
not many people can say that they grew up to do the job that they wanted to do when they were 7. When I was 7, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. So thank God that dream fell through. But that's really awesome.
Hey,
That's
there's still time.
There's
yeah.
still time.
There's still time. You're still a young
I gotta
kid.
get out to those open
Yeah.
mic nights.
Yeah, right. And you got some in common too. Your dad's a dentist as
That is,
well,
yeah,
Gabe.
very
So
true. Yeah,
yeah.
I wasn't lying. My dad's a dentist, and I definitely knew I didn't want to do that. So got something in common.
Listen, I tell the team this all the time. Yes, it was a childhood dream. It's still my dream now. We're getting to help people and animals in Los Angeles. Come on, it doesn't get any better than
Pretty
that.
cool.
Doesn't get any better. Yeah, making a huge impact, of course, as well. And that's incredible that you've. I mean, since 7 years old is obviously you knew. So that kind of leads us into our next question too. Is you've seen a lot of changes in the veterinary world over the years. So what is one of the biggest, most positive shifts you've witnessed in how we care for our pets today versus say 10, 20 years ago, maybe when you were seven, and what what the difference is now?
You're kind. It's way over 20 years ago that I was seven, but I appreciate that.
You look
Listen,
good, doctor. You look good. All right.
I think one of the biggest shifts, I mean, there have been so many, but dogs used to sleep outside when I was a little kid. Now they sleep in bed with us. They've got the best nutrition that's existed for them. They've got the best medicine, diagnostics, things that are going to extend their longevity and their quality of life. So the huge paradigm shift is the advancements in the human animal bond, and then the advancements that we've made overall in veterinary care. And that again includes earlier diagnostics, to forecasts for disease instead of being reactive when an animal gets sick, and the better nutrition. All of these are reasons why dogs and cats are living longer than they have in history.
Amazing. Wow.
Great.
Yeah, I
Love
mean,
hearing
and
that.
yeah, exactly. And you're connected with Cal Poly Slow, I'm assuming still, like you were just mentioning stuff. So
Oh
has this
yeah.
been reflected in the, college realm of veterinary sciences and stuff? I'm assuming there's been a shift there as well. So people are kind of shifting their approach on how they're dealing with our pets.
I think as an undergrad, they've got a small animal veterinary center on campus.
Hmm.
So yes, they're bringing the best of the veterinary world to that campus. And in veterinary school, Western University of Health Sciences, that's my veterinary alma mater. And they're also very driven to provide gold standard. And so when you're in veterinary school, they're drawing from the past as well as the present and the future to bring students right up to the edge of our knowledge. And so, yeah, the transformation is a byproduct of just refining constantly. The good work is never done, and growth is a massive part of being a doctor of any kind because you are dedicating your life to lifelong learning and improvement. So, yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
Beautiful answer. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, let's make sure we still, everyone needs to be educated and stuff. I know we've had other guests on the pod too that are, outside of veterinary school and stuff, but there's just so much education in the pet space nowadays too. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
obviously we live in a digital age, so
Hmm.
it's given to us a little easier and everything. So, that's amazing. So,
Definitely. And there's been so much change, like even with like human health in the last 20 years. And
mhm.
so it would totally make sense that there's, a lot of evolving ideas as far as or like in the veterinary space. And, it's no surprise too that a lot of those old ideas, those important ideas kind of hold true as well.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
pretty interesting.
Do you ever get to spend time mentoring students, teaching them the next generation of
Oh,
vets, or
yeah.
I know you're a busy man, so
Yeah, I think that's one of the greatest privileges is getting to share your knowledge with other people, especially the next generation of veterinarians. So we have agreements with different universities in the country, and actually a few outside of the country as well, where people have spent third and fourth year clinical rotations with us. And so they'll get to follow me around as well as any of our other five doctors at Palms and Paws and get really kind of tossed into the clinical side of veterinary medicine. And we employ the Socratic method. And so we are constantly asking students what their thoughts are and what they think of a case or of diagnostics to really push them to the edge of their knowledge and see how they're thinking. So we lead them through questions to the right answer. And that's what worked best for each of us as we were going through veterinary school, getting to rotate through hospitals that deeply care about what they're doing enough to bring students in and share their knowledge. It's just it's an essential part of furthering the profession. And we've got some high school students, they're seniors, that are also coming in and shadowing. These are people that are like I was, super excited to make their journey into veterinary medicine. And I got started at 15 years old pushing a broom around at Dr. Ron Kelp's practice.
Nice.
We've got high school students that are shadowing doctors and getting their start there too. So we're starting at the high school level. We've got college students intermittently, and then of course our veterinary school friends.
Amazing. Yeah, and that's really cool that, like you mentioned stuff from all over the world, not just our country. You guys are hitting every angle that you can, which is amazing, getting these students educated
Yeah,
to the best possible way. So that's amazing. Yeah.
absolutely. It's really important to, make sure the next generation of veterinarians are like getting that experience and, are ready to go when it's their time. So
Mhm.
that's really awesome.
And I
Can't
mentioned they're on the cutting edge as well. So every
mhm.
now and then I ask them what they think, and they're like, "Oh, have you heard of this new treatment?" And then I get to look
Oh
it up, and they get
wow.
to teach me something
Wow.
also. So it's a great way for us to stay sharp
Yeah.
by inviting these students in, and so it's definitely mutually beneficial. Everybody benefits when we're collaborating like this.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I feel like we're the same, we feel the same way, like on a funnier scale.
Yeah.
Like our younger, like we have two coworkers that are younger and they're always like teaching us new trends, teaching us new things, marketing,
New
TikTok
phrases.
stuff. Yeah, new phrases. And I'm just like, I'm lost, man. I thought I was still pretty young, but some of these things I just go right over my head.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's funny. That's good.
Maybe off camera, you guys could get me up to speed on like the language of the youth.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. Yeah,
right.
we'll
It's
pull Linda in for that one, our
yeah.
marketing assistant, because she even like judges us sometimes when we don't know, and I'm like, hey, I don't, you gotta let me let me marinate this for a second, So we'll teach you, Dr. Kev. Don't
Absolutely.
worry.
Pass on the education that we've received.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. So, kind of shifting towards like things that you've seen within like the veterinary field. What do you see as like the single biggest issue or challenge that, like being practiced widely among like veterinarians and that sort of thing? Um, and like in your opinion, like how can the pet owner community kind of come in and help fix some of these things?
Hmm. It's an interesting question because I think, again, medicine has advanced and animals are living longer than they have in history for all the reasons that I mentioned. I think the cost of care is a huge challenge.
Yep.
It is a huge challenge. And part of that is the level of care, the amount that we are able to do in terms of more complicated diagnostics, better treatments. These things all cost more. In some cases, in many cases, we're using the same technology and the same treatments that you would receive in a human specialty hospital,
Wow.
and so that increased cost is definitely something that I talk to people a lot constantly. And at Palms and Paws, we always do the right thing. We will always explore options. We will talk about absolute best case scenario. And if we need to tension that down a little bit or find something that is more feasible economically, we want the best outcome for this pet no matter what. And so there are instances where, having that discussion with your vet and determining, okay, what's going to give us the maximum amount of impact in the most financially judicious way. Those are important conversations. I can't tell you how many times we give things away. We because we want to sleep well at night knowing we're doing everything we can for this pet. And so there are instances where, we explore a payment plan or we just, we're going to do this on the house today because we're going to sleep better knowing that we're taking care of your pet, and taking care of you too. And so the more we give away, the more comes back to us. That's how I've always lived. And so in terms of how can, pet parents help with this issue, I think one of the things that can help or be very helpful is getting pet insurance at a young age. Pet
Mhm.
insurance, companies that are going to help pick up 90% of illnesses and emergencies, that is huge. You
Mhm.
know, I'm a veterinarian. I'm part owner of Palms and Paws. I still have pet insurance because if my cat or my family's animals need to go to the specialty hospital, it could still be five to $10,000
Yeah.
very quickly, and that would be a hardship for me and my family. And so, having an insurance company in place that could cover 90%, that's something that I recommend for everybody out there. And I always recommend talk to your friends and family, find out which insurance company has worked best for them. It's a bit of a moving target sometimes, but oh, hey, pup,
Yeah. I was gonna say that we had a guest. I didn't introduce him before
come
because he was
on.
he was sleeping on the patch down here. This is my dog. This is Oakley, our white
Oakley.
shepherd. Let's see if we can come here, bud.
Oh my gosh, that ear is incredible. Are you kidding me? Okay. Oh my gosh, now we're talking. I'll,
The real
I'll be
guest is
there.
here.
Yeah, now
Be
the
there
real
in an
star's here.
hour.
Sorry for the distraction.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, no, he's
So long and short, getting pet insurance is a great way to kind of level the playing field a little bit. And I used to work emergency and critical care, and people would swagger into the ER when they had pet insurance because they weren't worried about the cost. They
Yep.
just wanted whatever was best for their pet. And as a veterinarian, I wish everything was free. I would love to be unleashed so that I could just run and do whatever's best for every single patient. Again, fortunately, as part owner, I get to do and allow our other vets to do whatever is necessary to help animals when they're in need and people when they're in need. But pet insurance can help a lot. So
Yeah.
that's one of
definitely.
the biggest things I can recommend.
No, absolutely. And it's definitely something that's like looked over, especially, there's a lot of people of the younger generation Gen Z like getting dogs
Hmm.
younger in their life and or just pets in general, and so that's great information to have for
Yeah.
sure. And as a lifelong dog owner, I've definitely had those difficult conversations before
Hmm.
where, finances come into the picture, and then all of a sudden it can make decisions much harder when dealing with pets because,
Definitely. Yeah.
it's, like you said, it can be a real burden on your family. So,
Yeah.
um,
And the great thing about modern day too, a lot of employers pay attention to this too. So I know some employers do offer pet insurance as well, which is a huge plus for, you know, younger people coming out of college or whatever. They're maybe scared, but it's like, hey, you got those same benefits that you're getting for yourself through your job, which is I think is so cool that, employers are starting to pay attention to that. Pets are
Huge.
our kids, like especially our generation, like
mhm.
we're having kids still, but like not at a bigger rate as back in the day. We're really taking those fur babies in as our pets. So it's really cool to see
Kidding.
employers, paying attention to that. So awesome. Thank you for that, Dr.
Of
Kevin. And
course, and
um,
look, we treat patients like we would treat our own family members, our own pets, and so
mhm,
anything we can do to like reduce the barriers to success, we try to do. And I believe every vet out there has the same goal, the same intention of, doing whatever's best for that animal.
mhm.
And like I said, I wish it was all free. This job is already a dream, but
Yeah,
man, that would unleash all of us, which would be amazing.
yeah,
Absolutely.
incredible. Well,
One
let's
day.
yeah, let's with your all your experience and everything, let's dive into Palms and Paws and what. Tell us a little about the origin story. What year did you and Dr. Nimoy meet? Decide to start the business? What's
Oh
what's
my
happening
gosh.
with Palms and Paws?
So 2021, I called my mentor. I mentioned Dr. Ron Kelp, an amazing veterinarian. I got started at 15 and a half, pushing a broom around in his hospital, and we've stayed in touch over the years. He's an
Amazing.
incredible leader, mentor, and I called him when I was planning on phasing out of emergency and critical care. And I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting a practice. You know, talk me out of this if you think this is a mistake." He said, "You know what? I've got to introduce you to a friend of mine." And within a couple weeks, I was sitting in Dr. Jeffrey Nimoy's backyard, and we immediately clicked. Our third partner, Lou Gatto, um, came for our subsequent meeting, and Jeffrey is a veterinarian and a lawyer. He
Whew.
has, yeah, he used to run one of the biggest specialty hospitals in Southern California, and he has started many companies. And this was the first foray into the veterinary field. He is an incredible mentor, leader, coach, and he's just a blast to work with. And meeting Lou, he founded Gatto McPherson. And Gatto McPherson is a CPA firm that specializes in veterinary practices.
Oh, cool.
He has helped more veterinarians with their tax returns and their finances than probably anybody else in the world. And he is also an incredible leader, visionary, and just an amazing person. So the three of us got together, and we had meetings on and off for the 2 years leading up to actually opening our doors at Palms and Paws. The name is emblematic of who we are and what we do. I don't know if you guys can throw up our logo at any point, but it's a palm and a paw. It's right here, actually. Can
Yeah,
you see?
there we
Uh,
go.
you
Yeah,
know,
no,
uh,
we'll throw it up in the yeah, we'll get the viewers to see. No, I've always loved your logo. It's so
It's
cool. I mean,
awesome.
it's ever since we started working with yeah, with each other, I was like, yeah, this is just it makes sense,
It
just makes
does.
sense.
Yeah.
it's a reflection of how we operate. We are a people company that does veterinary medicine and and has created this community for pets and pet people. And so that hand or the palm is a reflection of our love of people, and the paw, obviously, our love of pets. And so it took us a while to come to that name. But when we did, we all knew that that was the perfect way to
Hmm.
touch people's hearts and to explain who we are just at a glance. And we opened our doors in 2023 at the start of January. And we started out with one veterinarian working there, which was me. And we have grown the team. We have grown incredible leaders at this hospital. And now we've got over 30, I think we've got 35 people on our team now. Uh,
Wow.
we've got six veterinarians, and it's just been amazing seeing the growth of people that started out with us who previously were veterinary assistants, or they were kennel assistants, meaning they just did laundry and kept the hospital moving smoothly. Now these people at Palms and Paws are leaders. They are running teams. And so getting to see their growth and their lives change has been a huge privilege. And I gotta shout out my partners, Jeffrey and Lou. They are just such incredible visionaries. And Jeffrey opened my eyes to the idea and the fact that, we need to be a leadership-based company, and we thrive and we are successful in a huge part because of our others-oriented leadership. So we want everyone on the team thinking of others in a way that allows them to bring out the best in them, help them thrive personally as well as professionally. And if we can think, like, imagine if you could get every single person on your team thinking, how can I make everyone else's day better today? How can I make this client's day better? How can I help this pet leave here happy? If you can get everybody thinking like that operationally and strategically, that's where magic happens. And so that has been one of the biggest things that Jeffrey has shared with me, and that is one of the biggest cornerstones at Palms and Paws Veterinary Center and the rest of our companies.
Amazing. It's like
Amazing.
the
Wow.
true embodiment of palms and paws,
Yeah, exactly,
Pretty cool.
exactly.
And it
Wow.
goes throughout the entire business,
Yeah.
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you guys are doing is when you were
That's when we
officially established.
that's when we first met, and we but we had started the Palms and Paws journey conceptually at around that time. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, amazing.
And
And it's
and
grown so
and
much into like the marketing side of things too.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's kind of how we got connected in the
sorry,
first place.
sorry, Andrew, I'm going to back up for a
Yeah,
sec.
yeah. Go for it.
Jeffrey got started on this journey in 2019.
Oh wow.
Wow.
2019 is when this concept originated.
Huh.
And so like I got brought in a little bit later, but
Yeah.
again, he gets the credit for dreaming of this amazing enterprise.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it was only meant to be that you guys got connected, it sounds like, I mean,
It's been a dream. It's been a
yeah,
dream come true. Seriously.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Cool. So, Gabe, I
Awesome.
think you're going to take the
Yeah,
next few, so
yeah, absolutely. So, you mentioned you guys have been open since it was 2023, right?
Yeah.
21 or 23.
2023 we opened up
20,
and
Nice.
gotcha.
Yeah, so you've been around for a couple years. Do you have any like significant stories that maybe like made an impact on you? And then,
oh my
um,
gosh,
yeah,
thousands.
yeah, sure,
I
I'm
bet,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, and every week we get something amazing, and I'll share one. This happened last week. A kitten was brought to us after being found on the side of the freeway.
Ooh,
And
Gosh.
this kitten was somewhere between 8 and 10 weeks old, tiny.
wow.
And this animal was raced in, and the temperature was 94 degrees, extremely low. Okay. Struggling to breathe, so weak, she could barely lift her little head. And we were able to triage her. The whole team just dropped what they were doing. They hopped on this little kitten, got a catheter placed. We ran some diagnostics, and she had a collapsed lung. And so we were able to do the procedure called a thoracocentesis to remove additional air that was around that lung. The lung reinflated, and we've been treating her supportively. After the first 24 hours, this kitten was eating. She was purring. She was like really showing incredible signs of life.
Oh my
A week
gosh.
later, this cat is bouncing off the walls, rolling on her back for pets. This cat that was found on the side of the freeway is absolutely incredible. And, I was telling my wife this story, and she said, I knew our next cat was going to be black and white. And I said, hang on a second.
Oh.
Here.
Classic.
The best part of this story is that one person decided to stop on the side of the freeway and pick up this cat. Okay. Here in Los Angeles, you guys are in Oxnard, you're close, and you
Yeah.
drive through this
Oh, we
town.
know.
Yep.
Okay. Hundreds, maybe thousands of people drove past and either were completely oblivious that this kitten was there lying on the grounds, or they saw it and thought, "Ooh, that's terrible," and they kept driving.
Yeah.
Okay. One person, and like that gives me goosebumps. The fact that one person had that level of kindness and care to pull over on the side of the freeway, scoop this little kitten up, bring them to the nearest veterinary hospital, and I don't even know this person's name. Like they came in and then they left. So huge shout out to this person,
Yeah.
whoever you are, you're amazing.
Yeah.
And maybe we can use the power of social media to find this person. But
Yeah.
it's a huge example of kindness in this world and others oriented. Hello, it brings it full circle. Okay. This person was so others oriented and saved this little kitten's life. And so, yeah, we get stories like that on a regular basis that touch our hearts. That's the most recent one that comes to mind.
There you go.
That's
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
I know that's it's like you said, others oriented and like it all kind of, works back to your guys' whole thing at Palms and Paws and, how that runs through the entire business. And so it feels like, kind of kismet, like it was meant to be that these kind of things happen and, you have these amazing stories to
Hmm.
share.
Yeah, and it just goes to show, like, imagine that one person. Like, if everybody, kind of like what you were saying before, you get your team all on the same page, all on the same strategy. If this was happening in the world, there was more people like that person that, stopped,
Oh my
like
gosh.
how much of a difference that would make, you know what I mean? And yes, it is tough. I get like what you're saying, we've been to LA, that area, it's busy, people are driving around, maybe not paying attention to something like that. You might miss it, but if we have a little bit more of a keen eye, like huge difference can be made, So maybe, yeah, let's try to use this pod when we release it. Try to
Yeah.
find this person. I think that'd be such a fun thing to do. Give them some, a reward in some way, maybe. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I think that's a great idea. Let's try to see, find out the mystery savior.
Absolutely.
Is there a name for the kitten? Did you guys name it at all, or
So a few different names. Miracle is kind of the front runner right now.
that's a good one?
Makes sense.
Freeway, was the first name, and yeah, those are the two front runners as far as I know. It changes week to week with this team when we get animals like this, so I'll keep you guys updated.
There we go. Yeah,
Definitely. I feel like
maybe
both
the
of those names are pretty applicable,
pretty
you
good.
know?
Yeah, maybe we could get further. What for you? Was it the 10? Just name it the 10. That'd be good. So funny. Cool. So, I actually want to, looking at Mr. Oakley over here, as he just fell asleep, which is
Oh yeah.
great. Yeah, he's taking advantage of that couch, obviously. I had I forget if it was you, Gabe, or somebody else just recently told me. So I adopted Oakley about 2.5 years ago now, and he's always had the little one ear up, one ear down situation, and he's got some scarring and whatnot. We're like, okay, we don't know his story. Maybe he got in a fight at some point. Like, what's up with that crunched ear? And I just had someone recently tell me like my dog had both ears up, went and got it neutered, came out with
Oh.
one ear down. So I wanted to ask you if that's a thing. Have you seen that before?
I have not. I'm gonna have to look into that. I have
Okay.
never experienced that with any of my patients. I've never heard that described either. Usually I would think that, Oakley over there may have had some prior trauma, so if
Yeah.
if there's a little bit of fibrosis or scarring in that ear once
Yeah.
it healed, that would make sense to me. Nerve damage would also make sense to me.
Yep.
Some dogs, it's as they age, if the weight of that pinna, that ear, exceeds the strength of the
Yeah.
cartilage, we'll start to see it sag or flop. But I don't know that I could draw a correlation with a neuter surgery. I would expect if that was the cause, I would expect both ears to be kind of symmetrically changed like that. So we'll have to
Gotcha.
look at that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's like a nerve damage thing, but I was like, wouldn't both ears
Yeah.
probably? But
He's got a
eh,
little like cauliflower ear kind
yeah,
of thing going
Okay,
on.
so that's
yeah,
definitely some scarring from a prior injury.
gotcha.
Got
Yeah, probably a
yeah.
fight or something, or just maybe got smashed in a door or something type of thing. Like,
I mean, with the
could be
scar
any.
scribe, probably some kind of altercation,
Yeah,
but I'll ask him next time I see him.
yeah. There we go. Perfect. I thought
And
that was just the perfect time. You're the expert, and I heard that, and I was like, I gotta ask somebody. I was like, that's good. I have no idea, So
listen, we gotta make this more exciting. Homie just fell asleep on the couch over there. We gotta step the game up.
he's a spoiled guy, He just takes advantage of the times where, because he's always following me around and stuff throughout the warehouse, throughout the office. So when he gets time to decompress a little bit,
Oh yeah.
he does. He loves his podcasts. He's always in here. He knows.
Exhausting being that vigilant. So,
Right?
he deserves
Yeah.
it.
Definitely,
Absolutely.
definitely. Sweet. So like I mentioned before too, I know we met because of marketing. Shout out to Greta Rose as well. It's been amazing working with her and everything. She is incredible. So what made you guys decide to take on social media at Palms and Paws? And how has that journey been? And yeah.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
So we started with our social media presence shortly after we started the hospital, and it was really difficult to get anything produced or put out there just because we had one vet and we had a team that was doing laps around this hospital. We were in a growth spurt. And so while we started in 2023, I would say we really kicked off our social media efforts. And started posting consistently and making sure that we had certain criteria, shooting in cinematic, making sure that, we're really intentional about what we're doing, starting in October, November of last year. And so we had about 800 followers. Then we've grown it to, I mean, at the time of this podcast, we're just over 16,000. And the whole reason that we want to do this is to extend our reach.
Hmm.
We are a veterinary center in Santa Monica, and I'm so proud of the impact that this team and this hospital has had in our community. We've got people that commute from the Inland Empire. We've got clients from San Diego that move there and they still schedule appointments with us. Same
Wow.
thing in San Francisco. We've got people that schedule their business meetings around rechecks with us so that they can continue care with us.
Wow.
But we want to extend our ability to help people and inspire people. And social media is the best way to do that on a global scale. We
Definitely.
launched we launched our media company um, over this past year. And the whole goal of palmspaws.com is to create content that not only puts a smile on people's faces and brings them closer to their pets, but also creates a community where people are brought together to experience more joy with their pet. And it's all veterinary inspired. It's veterinary approved, between Jeffrey, myself, and then the other veterinarians at Palms and Paws. We're making sure that we're curating information and experiences for pet parents to just live life to the fullest and do so under kind of veterinary guidance. So, really proud of what we've accomplished so far. Every month we release a new edition. So we've got an edition that includes our podcast. We're gonna have to
Yep.
get you guys on that.
Woo. Yep.
We've we've got recipes, we've got stories, we've got touch and massage exercises, we've got behavioral enrichment, and we try to target the six senses, the five classic senses, and then that sixth intangible sense that dogs and cats have. And so we're having a lot of fun with it. The growth has been incredible just since we launched, and I'm excited to see where this goes because we want to be able to touch people all over the world.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, the best way to do it is social media this day and age. So you
Absolutely.
guys are on the right track
That's how
with
you
that
reach
one.
the people,
Yeah,
for
we're
sure.
doing the same thing over here, trying to just spread the word, get
You guys
fresh
are
grass.
crushing it. Your guys' social media is amazing. Like I love seeing what you guys do. And yeah, it's just so fun. Like every time I see those videos, I just end up smiling because everything is so happy and positive. You guys are really inspiring to us and I'm sure so many other people.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you for the kind words. Shout out to our marketing manager, Adriana, Linda, the whole team. Everyone's putting in the effort with, our social posts and everything. Corey behind the camera. So yeah, we want to make a positive impact, of course, and keep things fun, but also educate people on the benefits of fresh patch, the real
Definitely.
grass, usage and everything. So,
And I'm sure you could
um,
re relate to. It's pretty fun working with animals, so
yeah,
we get that
that
little
loosens it
benefit
up a
as
little
well.
bit.
Yeah.
A blast, but I work with an amazing team. And you gave Greta Rose a shout out. I need to do one too. She is also a visionary. She is artistic. She is incredible. Getting to work with someone of her caliber is a dream come true. And she is our brand architect
Hmm.
and she can code. She has done such an amazing job with our beautiful website and all of the episodes that we produce. So huge shout out to Greta Rose. Yeah, I just we're so grateful we all get to work together. It's the best.
Amazing. Yeah, no, she is so great. And when I joined the podcast with you guys briefly, it was like I was thoroughly impressed because, we've been doing this for a year, but she's just so soft spoken. Like she knows what she's doing. And I was like, you guys got a good thing going on over there with her and just all the ideas and plans you have. So we're excited to see the continuation. Of course, us being along on that journey as well as partners in the space. So yeah, we're really, really excited for you guys, for us. And, I think that kind of leads into our next question in a sense. And I know, Gabe, I'll take it for a second,
Yeah,
but
sure, sure.
we did talk about this when we were down, and the viewers will see a video testimonial very soon. Probably actually be released before this episode is released, but you were talking to us about future plans, possible expansions on that street where Palms and Paws is. So if you can give some information, I don't know if you don't want to give too much, but what are some plans for expansion of Palms and Paws?
Like I can give you some nuggets. All right. So,
Yeah.
look, the backstory is, relevant. We picked our location because it is right across the street from the Santa Monica Animal Shelter.
Hmm.
We wanted to be able to work with these animals. Any animals that are brought in there, we get to help administer care. We get to do surgeries that are needed. So it is it's a massive privilege to be right across the street. And currently, we have our Palms and Paws Veterinary Center. We are going to be opening kind of our encore on Ninth Street. And this encore is going to be an incredible three-story building. The ground floor is going to provide additional parking for our clients and our team. The second floor is where we're going to be putting in an urgent care with some specialty services to
Nice.
extend our reach. And the third floor is where we're going to be running things like the media company and all of our Palms and Paws operations. So stay tuned. You guys are for sure getting invited to the
Heck
opening of
yeah.
this building, and we can put some fresh patch on the roof and
Yes.
cover the
Nice.
roof. But yeah, appreciate you asking. This is part of our long-term goal, and my hope is that in the next 3 years that project is complete. And so so excited, and this will just allow us to extend our reach and our care for all of our clients and pets that we serve.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow, that's a great game plan, and we are more than happy to provide as many fresh patches for that roof as possible. We want to
Absolutely.
make a dog run, a doggy, just the potty area. You let us know. We're there. Okay.
You guys are the best.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
So just to kind of like bring it back to maybe like some like just some general advice that you would give to pet parents. Um, if you could give every pet parent like one piece of nutritional advice that would drastically improve their pet's health, what would that be?
Another great question. So nutrition is so complex, just like people. Every person's a little bit different. Every dog and cat's going to be a little bit different. So the frustrating but simple answer is we need to find what works best for your pet. If they're allergic to a protein like chicken or beef, then that can declare itself by itching or gastrointestinal signs. So making sure that we figure out what works best for your pet, that's where talking to your primary care veterinarian is going to be essential. And broad strokes, making sure that the diet is balanced. There are a list of diets that you can look at on AFCO, AAFCO. It's an incredible resource for pet parents out there. And this is the regulatory body that ensures that our diets are as safe and balanced as possible. And so if you are, between veterinary visits and you want to explore what options are that are AFCO approved, that regulatory body is where I send people all the time to make sure that they're selecting diets that are balanced nutritionally and safe. So that is broad strokes, a really easy recommendation that everybody can follow. And if you notice that the diet you're currently using is not on that list, then a gradual transition from one diet to another is going to be gentlest on your pet system. We see a lot of problems when there's like a really hard shift. Somebody runs out of dog food and they pick up, a bag of Old Roy at Walmart or a gas station, and that's where we get into some trouble. So just a really gradual and gentle transition from one diet to another is best way to mitigate, risk of a adverse reaction. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's great advice. And I mean, we've been talking about the changes and how, you know, pet ownership has been over the last like even 20 years. Like I feel like 20 years ago, it's like you go to the store, you get the bag of kibble, and then that's what you feed them for the rest of their lives. And it's just through this podcast too, like we've talked to, dog food companies,
Yeah.
and we've learned so much about, you know, animal diets and how important it is for them to be
Mhm.
balanced and that sort of thing. So that's really cool that there's a resource like readily
Yeah.
available for people.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's free.
Yep.
So like go hit them up.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah. No, what interests me with this topic too is the allergy side of things. Like Gabe was saying, we've talked to so many guests on this podcast with dietary things, raw food companies, and it's just so interesting to me that like meat for a dog, they can be allergic to. So I wanted to
Yep.
kind of get your opinion on that too, how that's evolved over the years. Have they always been kind of allergic to certain meats? I mean, they're carnivores, so to me it's like they can eat any type of meat, type of thing, and they'll be good. But yeah, I don't know any input on that
Yeah.
that side of things.
Again, it's a complex issue.
Yeah,
And, I've got a cousin who developed a gluten allergy late in life, I mean,
there you go.
gluten for everything. So just like people can develop allergies, so can dogs and cats. And so
Gotcha.
just paying attention to, okay, I grabbed a chicken, version of this diet, and now my dog is itching like crazy, or my cat is really uncomfortable. Those are subtle things that you can pay attention to try and draw a correlation or causation. And that's key. I think people, are a huge part of why dogs are living. I mean, I touched on it already, but the extended longevity is because people are just aware of things too. If a dog was itching after a meal 20 years ago, they'd say, "Oh, that's just a dog being a dog." Now people are dialed in, and so if they notice that their dog is itching like crazy after a specific shampoo is used, or after they walk in a certain area or travel to a different part of the country, these are things that people are really dialed into now
Hmm.
when it previously probably got overlooked. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but figuring out what works best for your pet, talking to your primary care veterinarian, and yeah, if you notice a big shift in, signs of allergies or gastrointestinal upset, even if your dog or cat's been on the same diet for an extended period, it could be a factor. So
Yeah.
always worth exploring.
Gotcha. No, it makes total sense. Bring it into the human side. It makes sense. I
Yeah.
have plenty of friends that, like you said, get a gluten allergy later in
Hmm.
life, or you just all of a sudden are allergic to something. So that
Yeah.
makes total sense
My
for
mom
our
was
pets.
actually like for a period of time like allergic to chicken, which was interesting.
There we go.
So, I mean, yeah, if it can happen to humans, clearly it could happen to dogs too.
Yeah,
So it's important to pay
exactly.
attention to that.
Yeah. Cool. So let's tie things back into Fresh Patch and the real grass now. So obviously,
Yes.
like I was saying, you made us an amazing testimonial, which, you had us tricked there. You were super nervous when we went down there to do this, and you just killed it. I mean, we were just so impressed with that testimonial, and we're like, he was fibbing us, like he knows what to do on camera and everything. But so that was great. We enjoyed that shoot a lot, and you've talked about how the environment impacts mental, physical health. So, how can something as simple as having real grass indoors, keep a consistent routine, or minimize harsh chemical cleaners actually support a pet's physical and mental wellness?
Well, first of all, you're very kind because I was. But the place that I'm at now is I'm spread so thin that I don't have time to be embarrassed anymore. I just have to plow through. Uh, and you guys also made it easier. Team is incredible and so supportive. So huge shout out to you guys. Look, something that I talk to people often about is allowing animals to have consistency of routine
Hmm.
is so incredible at reducing the potential for anxiety. And can you imagine if you had no idea when your next access to water or your next meal was going to be,
Hmm.
or when you were going to be able to go to the bathroom?
Yep.
I've got people in a car ride, and 20 minutes in, they're like, "Hey, we got to stop at a Starbucks." gotta go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
and we make it happen. But like
Yep.
just the level of anxiety that you would feel if you had no options or you didn't know when your next opportunity was going to be. And so I try to explain this and convey it to pet parents all the time. We need to create consistency, a schedule where they can rely on, okay, I'm going to get fed at these intervals. I'm going to get free access to water. I'm going to go for walks at certain times. And dogs in particular are paying very close attention to our habits.
Hmm.
They're looking to us, okay, you picked up the car keys, you're putting your shoes on, grabbing the leash, great, time for a walk. You
Yep.
know, but having consistency of routine is massive at helping to establish, a lower anxiety lifestyle. So having Fresh Patch either available on a patio or indoors and allowing them access to urinate and defecate, eliminate and relieve themselves,
Mhm.
that is another way that we can help animals not only be more comfortable, but reduce their anxiety. Everybody's been in a home at one point where they see a dog kind of like antsy, whining, tiptoeing near the door.
Yep.
And some people are oblivious. They're like, oh, they're just anxious or they're just excited because the mailman was here. Maybe they need to use the restroom. So having them have free access is massive. And as I said in the testimonial, for people that are in high rises, super metropolitan or cosmopolitan areas where you have to actually walk a good deal or take an elevator and walk to get to a fresh patch of grass, or to walk to any patch of grass and know that every dog in town is eliminating on that thing, in addition to wildlife, you know, um, that's where the potential for spreading, bacterial infections, viral infections, parasites, those densely populated areas where there's a thin little strip of grass that animals are using to eliminate on. It's just an opportunity for infection. Bad. All right. So having these fresh patches of grass indoors or in a safe space is a huge way to reduce anxiety, to encourage consistency, that human animal bond, and also reduce the potential for exposure to environmental infections.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that was round of
that was
applause.
great.
Round of applause there. I mean, that was
Yeah,
beautiful.
no, that was
So
awesome.
that's and I'm glad you pointed out like the human side of things. Like we have free will. Like, you said, you're on a car ride, it's 20 minutes in, hey, let's pull over. I gotta go to the bathroom. Like giving that to your pet is so crucial. You know what I mean? So it is, and I love hitting that point on our marketing as well. Sometimes, it's just like we have the free will, give them the free will
Yep.
too. It just
Hmm.
makes sense. And also what you said about wild animals, I've never thought of it like that too. Like the common spaces out in these metropolitan areas, wherever, it's like you don't know what squirrel or raccoon or something is going on that thing as well, or sniffing around. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I kind of want to dive a little deeper into that because I know like a large part of our clientele are new puppy owners. You know, you know better than probably anybody that when you're bringing home a puppy and they're still so young, they're way more susceptible to a lot of these diseases. And then also, like getting them used to going on grass, like whether that's scent or texture or that sort of thing, can be really helpful at, as young an age as possible. Could you speak to that a little bit?
For sure. So that tactile sensation is nice for them to get used to. It makes it a little bit more rote in terms of behavior to eliminate there instead of on a rug or carpeting. And so getting them used to that, using positive enrichment, positive reinforcement, that's going to, and in terms of limiting the potential for exposure to parasites, viruses, bacteria, that puppies are incredibly susceptible to until 2 weeks after their final round of vaccines. Having them on a protected patch of grass, fresh patch of grass, is going to help mitigate as much risk as possible. We still want to encourage socialization, even at an early age, but we want to do it safely and in
Hmm.
a really controlled environment. And so, yeah, I mean, if you're a client of mine, you've heard me say it. I don't want those little puppy toes touching the ground or communal areas until after they're fully vaccinated, 2 weeks after they're fully vaccinated, to allow their antibodies to get to cruising altitude. And so, best practice is always chatting with your veterinarian, finding out the risks in your area and the safest way to proceed with a young puppy. But yeah, that is such a vulnerable age. We want to keep them as safe as possible.
Absolutely. And that goes out to you new puppy owners. If you're dealing with those issues, if your dog's within the vaccination process, check out Fresh Patch. It's a great option for you to kind of like mitigate some of those issues and get your dog start going on grass early.
And we
Jeez,
just
I'm a little
released,
tongue twisted.
yeah, a little tongue twisted. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's a long episode, but we
Yeah.
did just release our puppy parent bundled as well. So check it out, freshpatch.com. We give you all the necessities to bring that new puppy home: fresh grass, training sprays, treats to reward them for using the patch correctly, a fresh pad for a little insurance policy for your floors. So check it out, freshpatch.com. And yeah, thanks for all the information. And I that was really cool. I didn't know the 2 week thing. That's really good, advice for people. Like, I mean, some people might just think, oh, they got their last shot, and we're good to go. So thanks for pointing that out as well.
Of course.
Sweet. So this pretty much wraps it up, but wanted to talk a little bit about collaborations, future collaborations, Fresh Patch, Palms and Paws. I know we have a lot of ideas in the pipeline with Greta Rose, with you and everything. So for all the viewers, check out Palms and Paws, check out Fresh Patch. We have a lot of fun things in the works, and I cannot wait to continue our partnership journey with you guys. And I also just remember too, will you be at the AVMA conference in Anaheim in 2 weeks, or a week and a half now, I think. Yeah, 2 weeks.
Coming up.
We'll have to see if my boss lets me off work.
There we go. Yeah, so we will be there actually all weekend long. We're going to have a little kiosk set up and hopefully meet more veterinarians like you and educate them on Fresh Patch and that this product is available. So if you can make it out, we'd love to see you. If you have any connections, let me know. If you know anybody that might be there, I'd love to talk to them and stuff. It'll be Gabe and I running the little kiosk booth. I'm actually doing a 20-minute seminar. I'm gonna be up on stage talking about Fresh Patch too.
Huge.
Hopefully educate all the vets out there that maybe not know about our product and everything. So yeah, we're really excited to get into that community. And you are, like we said during the testimonial, one of our first vet partners. So thank you for doing what you're doing for Fresh Patch and just all the pets in the area.
So grateful to know you guys, to collaborate with you both and the entire team. And this is just the beginning. The best is yet to come, as I always say. So super excited to be on this journey with you guys, and excited for what comes next.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, as we are as well. So we'll wrap it up now. For all the viewers watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, follow at Fresh Patch on all social media, whatever podcast you listen to, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Drop us a follow, subscribe, like, comment. We love the support. Freshpatch.com for all your real grass potty needs, treats, poop bags. We got it covered for you. And of course, check out Palms and Paws Official and their website as well. And thank you, Dr. Kevin. This was amazing. And, we'll get you up here soon. We promise.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Palms Paws Official on Instagram and palmspaws.com if you want to learn more about what we're cooking up. So excited. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Awesome. Yeah.
Amazing.
And thank you, everybody. And we will see you on the next episode of the Fresh Patch Podcast. Later. Thanks for listening to the Fresh Patch Podcast, where good pets get it. We hope you enjoyed the show. Give us a like or a follow and shop all real grass supplies at freshpatch.com.